Hey everybody, welcome to the Wrestling Review, the very first episode of the Wrestling Review. What better way to start than by previewing WrestleMania 31? My name is Kyle Fowle, I'm a writer for the AV Club. On the other line, she does the WWE Monday Night Raw reviews for the AV Club. She will come into your home, take food right off your plate, and read it to your children. It's LaToya Ferguson. How are you, LaToya?
I'm doing well, Kyle. How about you? And thank you for that introduction.
I'm just feeling very Heyman inspired today. That was an epic promo that he cut about how Brock Lesnar's just gonna take your children.
That's how you get children to behave. You just have Paul Heyman tell them that story.
It's a nighttime story now. That's exactly what it is. Love it. So, this is our very first show of the Wrestling Review. You know, we've chatted wrestling a lot of times. I think we want this to be about Raw. We want it to be about WrestleMania right now, but we're going to talk all things wrestling in the future. We just got a ton to talk about this week leading into WrestleMania. You want to start with Raw, though, and a couple things from there?
Yeah, I guess we can start Raw. You want to just kick it off with a...
What do you want to start with on Raw?
I guess let's start with the end.
Okay,
let's start with the tug of war. The tug of war that's supposed to sell WrestleMania.
Right. So we already know how you feel, but please expound on that.
That was amazing because I just remember watching it. They're touting the face-to-face between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns finally. And so you get to the end of the show, and you have Paul Heyman cutting his promo, obviously, about how Brock Lesnar is just going to, scare children, which is true. And then, you realize it's 11:08, and Roman Reigns still isn't out there for their face-to-face.
Yeah.
Is he going to get to speak at all? He comes down. He doesn't speak. And then he just grabs the title away from Brock Lesnar like they're in the Intercontinental title feud, basically. I was kind of surprised. I was surprised R-Truth didn't show up just to sneak up behind Roman Reigns, be very, very quiet,
I understand. I get it. But okay, so I hated the tug of war thing, because I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm going, okay, when are they going to start beating each other down? And then the little logo pops up in the bottom, the copyright logo, and I go, no, this is not what you're going to do. Which, otherwise, I thought it was a pretty great Raw overall. I mostly enjoyed it as the go-home show. I think it was more of a Raw from maybe 2 weeks ago, and it could have been built up even more. But I loved when Roman Reigns came down and snagged the title away from him. I thought it was an amazing power move, as Reigns up until this point has been the whole, I can and I will. It's I'm not even really that mad at Brock Lesnar for any reason. It's just I know I can beat him and I can become the champion. So when he yanked it out of his hand, it was an immediate oh shit moment. My problem was that immediately Brock Lesnar didn't beat the shit out of him right then. Why?
I thought there was a lack of aggression and force to the whole situation. When he grabs that belt, I didn't feel oh, shit's gonna happen. Just because it was the least forceful grab of a belt ever. Honestly, he just yoink. And then it became tug of war. And like I said in my review, this tug of war was literally an NXT competition, game show competition. And at this point, Johnny Curtis officially looks more intimidating than you, Roman Reigns.
Well, I don't know about that.
Johnny Curtis.
I don't know about that. But I think the big problem was that, for me, it wasn't even that Reigns grabbed the title. It was the fact that you've built up Brock Lesnar as this monster literally 2 minutes ago, when he's taking adopted children as his own and stealing food off of their plates. To me, it should have been Reigns takes the title, he grabs it from him I'm a badass and I'm not scared of you, and Brock Lesnar beats the crap out of him, instantly. Yeah. Doesn't have to think about it, doesn't even have to fume. He just goes after him because that's what Brock Lesnar does.
He's an ass kicker. That's what he says. You should have made him piss blood. The usual Brock Lesnar threats.
Exactly. And the crowd probably, at this point, the crowd is mostly on Brock Lesnar's side. I get that. But at least in this situation, you're giving who's the guy who's supposed to be your babyface is getting the crap beat out of him before the big pay-per-view on Sunday, which at least to me gives you a little more option for those people who are kind of on the fence to be like, man, I really want Roman Reigns to like come back, and it gives them some motivation to be like, there's no way I'm getting my ass kicked like that again when come Sunday.
Yeah, and if he doesn't just get his ass kicked like horribly, like there should have been, a locker room pull apart or something like that. It's just, again, what I'm saying, where there's really no passion or kind of motivation for going into this main event.
Is it because, is part of the problem not even just with that, the way the segment ended tonight, but that pretty much every week they have not given us any sort of physical confrontation between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar?
I don't think it's so much the lack of physical confrontation as it is, I think I talked to you about this before, that Roman's narrative is basically just proving that he can and will win to just to shut up the naysayers. It's not to be like, I want to defeat Brock Lesnar because, he has a chokehold on the championship or anything like that. It's not even, there's not really a personal thing besides maybe in the form of Roman having a personal gripe with Paul Heyman for the things he said, which, like, not every main event or match has to be like, oh, I hate you so much, we're in a blood feud, but like there needs to be some like personal motivation other than, I guess I'm supposed to win, like I won the Royal Rumble, that means I'm the winner,
I think that's largely, we'll get into this a bit later too, but I think that's largely a problem with a lot of the WrestleMania card, is that to a certain extent you need to have these kind of attraction matches or whatever, matches that are just for the sake of two guys wrestling, Triple H and Sting, for instance. You don't really need much to sell that, and that's okay. But your main event should probably have some sort of major storyline behind it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't
The best main events always do, honestly. And the ones that don't have that, they're the ones that are shit upon, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like even in a kind of, prestige attraction match, something like The Rock versus John Cena, they still told a story for like a whole year before it came up to that. Whereas this situation just seems like, well, I won the Royal Rumble and this is my spot, and the whole feud was with Daniel Bryan. That was the exciting part. Was like leading into Fastlane and seeing their match, and like, it was the guy that everybody wanted to win versus the guy that actually did win, and that kind of made a lot more sense. But once he got past Daniel Bryan, it was like, well, what is the motivation now other than the WWE title? So is like the title just not enough of a motivation? Is part of that just because Brock hasn't been around defending it?
And the thing, I don't think it's because Brock hasn't been around, because I can think of other people you could put in the spot, and like there would be a personal motivation like that would catapult them to like wanting to try to win the title, get the glory, like basically save the day from this, like I said, this chokehold. It's strange because if you're gonna have something that's a guaranteed title shot, like that can't just be the story. Like you have to have other things happening. Like, can you imagine any like Money in the Bank contestant who doesn't have a built-in storyline as well as I have the belt? The briefcase. I think maybe the only person I can think of who didn't really have anything going for them when they had Money in the Bank was Mr. Kennedy, and that didn't last very well. Now did it?
And that's what you have. That's exactly what you have in live sports. Like, sure, every team in the NFL is trying to win the Super Bowl, but you don't just sell it on them wanting to win the Super Bowl. You have all these personal narratives going into it, be it the strategy or who's won and lost during the season and all these different personal stories. You can't just say, well, both teams deserve to be here, so it should be good. Like, that's not enough, I don't think.
They're going to have a good sports game.
Exactly. All right, so let's leave a little more Lesnar Reigns for a bit later when we talk the actual WrestleMania 31 card and we talk their match. Let's move to what I thought was by far the best part of WWE Raw on Monday, which was Paige versus Nikki, who put on an unbelievable match. Like, really unbelievable. And the crowd was super into it. Like, the crowd was going nuts. There's the point where halfway through they cut to commercial, which I always hate anyways, but even still, they gave them a fair amount of time.
It's not like they ended the match during the commercial.
Oh,
which
God.
has happened before.
Did you check your WWE app while you were there? But they come
only
back.
time I've ever had the WWE app, I installed it and I uninstalled it like 10 minutes later.
What are you gonna do with it, really?
I know.
But yeah, they go to the commercial break and they cut back, and Nikki's got Paige in like the chokehold, and Paige is just starting to get up, and the crowd is going nuts for Paige, cheering for her to get up. You never hear that anymore.
Yeah.
Is this partially just that Paige and Nikki are two of the best in the business, and they are figuring out how to tell a story, and how much of it is the fact that WWE is maybe giving them a little more time to actually tell that story?
It's a little bit of both, because obviously you couldn't throw in, as good as Nikki's gotten, you couldn't throw in Cameron versus Nikki and have this be a good match or have the crowd be that into it in a good way. But, it's just kind of like, look what happens when you give them the time to like tell this story, to go out there and put on a good match. When you have commentary that puts over the match, a little goes a long way. And It's not like it's hurting WWE to have a longer Divas match than another Adam Rose and Zack Ryder match.
Right. No, not too much Zack Ryder. Not too much Zack Ryder shade here, okay?
I'm not even insulting them. It's just that because I watch Superstars, so that match keeps happening. Oh no, actually, it's actually Adam Rose and Fandango. That happens a lot too. Like, in theory, I like all of these wrestlers I'm talking about right now, but I can only watch Adam Rose and Fandango or Adam Rose and Zack Ryder so many times.
Of course. And like, this is your main show, and these are your main draw divas. These are the ones that should be getting tons of time, Like, it's fine enough that you're giving Naomi and Natalya a little bit of time with, like, the Usos and Cesaro and Kid and stuff, and doing all these kind of backstage promos and different pre-tape things with them.
And the restaurant bit, which is my favorite thing.
Oh, my God. Just
that month where they just kept showing that bit over and over and over again
was constant. It was constant. But like, these are your main divas, and I think it speaks to what these divas can do, considering that all four of them were out there. You had the Bella Twins, you had AJ, and you had Paige. Normally, for me, that's a disaster. Like, I see the four of them come out, and I'm like, it's going to be a stupid distraction finish. It's going to be terrible.
Come on, Nikki.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Brie, but every time she says, come on, Nikki, it makes me so angry.
It's too much. So I thought, they were going to... I was worried that that's what was going to happen, but then they let these two go, and Paige and Nikki are working a stiff match out there, too. Like,
they have great chemistry. Like, they had a match on Main Event a few months back, and that's when I really was like, Nikki knows what she's doing.
Nikki gets it. Nikki gets it.
Yeah.
Like, she's just got this swagger right now where she's like, I'm totally a boss. Like, it's amazing. No offense to Sasha.
I would love to see her against the Boss, actually. Like,
oh my God,
that match.
It'd be amazing.
But like, honestly,
like doing these throws and these carries and the stiff forearms that she's putting in there, and Paige going from the apron and doing that clothesline to the outside, like all these nice big real moves, and not like, hey, they're rolling around the ring and like slapping each other. It's
pulling hair.
It's so refreshing to see, and it goes to show that in a Raw, I think, in an episode of Raw where there were quite a few solid matches, I don't know if they were good to great matches, but there were some solid matches, that this stood out by far. Yeah. And I don't think it was just because we don't see it very often. I think it was because it was a legit great match.
If this was a Raw where there was a Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler match, and this was the best match on the card.
It was. Exactly. And I think the commentary played a big part in that, which... It's easy to rag on the commentary, and I always do because mostly they're terrible. But I think they did a good job here. Like, it was weird when Michael Cole called AJ cute at one point. Like, that was
he also called Paige a goth because he's just an old man.
Yeah,
she's like, AJ's cute and quirky, and Paige is what they would call a goth.
I don't know if you've heard of them.
It was the opposite of the usual, oh God, shut up, Michael Cole. I was actually slightly amused by like his old man descriptions.
And he was kind of trying, and then. But then he gets into the point of how Give Divas a Chance is really about how the WWE has all sorts of great female talent, and they all have these really different personalities, and it's about letting them all have a space to actually work. And it was like, and Booker T's going on like crazy about what an amazing match they're having out there.
Yes, and Booker T, when he like starts marking for something, is always the best to me because he like has genuine excitement for watching the product when it's great.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I was really excited when he got added to the commentary, and I thought
That's
he was.
why I loved his commentary on SmackDown before,
Yeah.
because when everyone was in his Fave 5,
Yeah.
good
And he was,
time.
he was good when he started at Raw for a couple weeks, but then I felt like they toned him down or something, or he toned it down, and he kind of became just another jokey kind of dude. But in that match, it was like selling those super kicks, like Nikki Bella was out for a second, she was out cold for a second, like that's good, sell that,
Yeah.
which is what
Other
they should
than they
be
just
doing.
hate each other because total divas.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they mentioned Total Divas once during the whole match.
Which is interesting. Like, Total Divas, I don't think is a problem in itself. I've watched every single episode of Total Divas. It's honestly more scripted than wrestling at this point. But the problem is when it's like an us versus them thing, and they won't let even the good wrestlers they clearly have on Total Divas be good wrestlers because in order to fit the storyline, it's like no, you can be two things. You can be a Total Diva and also be great. Like we shouldn't be worried when
LaToya.
good. What? Ah.
Try to get you back in here.
Okay, I'm here.
Hey, you there?
Yeah, you.
All right, cool.
I was still talking. You froze to me.
Hey, you froze to me, so.
Well, I was saying basically,
Continue.
yeah, that we shouldn't have to be worried for like when a quote unquote diva like goes to Total Divas. We should be happy that they're getting more time, honestly. So I'm glad that they're finally realizing, hey, we can have them be good and also be on this ridiculous reality show.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to move on from this match, but I'd be remiss not to mention that Nikki Bella doing push-ups in the middle of the match is my favorite thing that Nikki Bella does right now. It's like it's so good, so good.
Big Nikki Pump.
Oh my God, that's exactly what it is. It's so good.
If she could like start just cutting Scott Steiner-esque promos, I think she would be my favorite diva of all time.
I think she might be my favorite diva on the roster right now. If I'm excluding Sasha Banks down in NXT.
Because Sasha Banks transcends everything.
Yes. We all know Sasha Banks is transcendent. She's not ratchet, she's transcendent. We know that.
Exactly. If only that was a catchy chant, Sasha's transcendent.
Maybe next time. We can get that started. We can get it started. Is there anything else we really need to talk from Raw, or should we hop into the WrestleMania card?
Chicken fries are back, Kyle.
Chicken fries are back. That is true.
And
Tyson has missed them so much. They smell so.
Chicken fries are not good. I had them like the first time they were a thing, and they were not good. I regretted it immediately. And but I appreciate that Tyson and Natalya are going to invite chicken fries into their bedroom as a third partner. Sorry, Cesaro.
That was like a really sexual kind of like backstage segment. It was really strange.
Yeah, especially with the lighting and everything. And what was with that like divider that was in their random like locker room that they had to themselves, their husband-wife locker room?
Yeah, like, well,
The logistics of that entire thing. But it was pretty fun.
It was, you know what, like, when he walked in with the Burger King, I'm like, oh my God, seriously? We're doing like an Adam Rose kind of thing that he was doing where he's shilling all this stuff. And then I realized this is Tyson Kidd. This is going to be amazing. Who am I kidding? Like, why would I ever doubt that this is not going to be great?
Natty, chicken fries are back at Burger King.
Oh my God, so good.
Let's see. My final note basically for Raw is that after the tug of war, I decided not to turn off USA, so I watched an episode of Dig. And that was the only episode of Dig I've ever watched, the only episode of Dig I'm ever going to watch. But it was insane. I live tweeted it. There was a Hasidic Jew that lived on a pirate ship and was talking to a cow. This all happened in an episode of television.
See, I have no real idea other than I've seen it at the AV Club a couple times and people just making fun of it, and I have no clue what it is.
Now you understand why, just based on that description.
Well, see, and I'm in Canada, so no USA Network for what I'm watching. As soon as Raw's over for us, it's like straight into sports. Like, right into the hockey and the moose killing. Like, obviously.
My favorite sport.
How could they not be? All right, let's move into the WrestleMania card then, now that we kind of got through Raw. But I think we'll probably end up talking about a few things here and there. Before we get to the actual whole card, let's start with what's going to be the pre-show match. which the pre-show is 2 hours long. And then
What? I didn't even realize that.
It starts at 5 Eastern, and it's 2 hours.
My entire day.
Yeah, it's like, that's a 6-hour show now, which is really super long.
They are trying to kill this WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that. But so we have a Fatal 4-Way for the Tag Team Championships with Kid and Cesaro, the Usos, Los Matadores, and the New Day. I don't think we know yet who the New Day wrestlers are going to be.
The Island of Misfit Toys, that's what the match is.
Oh. So, what do you think, first of all, about this match being, one, being a Fatal 4-Way, and two, being relegated to the pre-show match?
I feel bad for it being pre-show, especially just as hard as both Cesaro and Kid have worked, just to get relevant again. Basically, it kind of sucks that they have to be on the pre-show. Given who their opponents are, it also kind of makes sense. Is it going to be elimination? Because I feel like it kind of should be elimination.
I don't know. I'm not sure what they have planned for it just yet. They're just calling it a Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. I'm sure they don't know yet either.
No, probably not.
They might let the El Torito and Natty and Naomi join the match because, little people, women.
Get that interspecies thing going on again.
Exactly.
I feel like it feels weird to me that the Tag Team Championships aren't being defended. When I look at the card, during the actual WrestleMania show, when I look at the card, there's nothing I would take away or nothing I would really shorten, so I kind of understand where they're coming from. But I also don't understand, my biggest thing is just give me Kid Cesaro versus the Usos again. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's totally fine. Like, you don't need to toss in Los Matadores and the New Day.
Just be in the Battle Royal. Which, at this point, with who's in the Battle Royal, that might as well be the pre-show.
Well, the Ascension are in the Battle Royal.
Exactly.
So why not allow any of the other tag teams to get in there? Because typically, the more tag teams you have in a Battle Royal, too, the more interesting the dynamics get, in that they can eliminate each other if they're feeling like it. They can gang up on people. The New Day would have 3 people that they can just fly around the ring, Like, it seems like a weird thing to kind of put them on this pre-show match. With that said, I think the match could be pretty good.
Yeah. I don't have a fear that it's going to be a bad match, although the commentary will kill me probably. The Bulls twerking, Moggle. I bet that is something that happens.
Yeah, I would not bet against you on that. I really would not. All right, well, let's not even really think about that match any more than it actually needs to be. I'll just say that I agree with you in that I'm disappointed that Kid and Cesaro don't have a more prominent place on the WrestleMania card. But I think that's really just indicative of what they've done with the tag team division for the past 7-8 months or whatever it happens to be.
Since, I don't even know, since the Shield broke up?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just been an absolute, it's an absolute mess. I don't know what they're doing with the tag team division. But, all right, before we kind of get into, let's talk about the Battle Royal. And I want to talk a little bit about that NXT at Access has added this NXT tournament for someone to get added in to the Battle Royal. So the 4 people that they have announced are Tyler Breeze, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, and Adrian Neville.
Basically the 4 people you'd assume.
The 4 people you would assume. It's unclear if that's like the whole tournament or if they're going to add in a couple of other guys and you just know those 4 guys are going to win. Like there might be more at the show. I don't really know.
Wasn't it like a 4 people thing before when it was for the Royal Rumble and Bo Dallas won?
Yeah, I think so, right? Yeah, so out of these 4 guys, who's your prediction to win and actually be included in the Battle Royal?
Let's see. I kind of want it to be Tyler Breeze, which it frightens me for him to be like on the main roster because, again, the Chuckleheads known as the commentary team, but I feel like he's ready to be on the main roster, honestly.
I think he is too. Like I definitely agree that Tyler Breeze is ready, especially after watching NXT last night and really starting to. I've always been a big Tyler Breeze fan, but the confidence with which he's cutting his promos right now, and the way his in-ring work has just been really, really tight. Like I am worried about his gimmick working its way to Raw and not working properly, but I feel like he can recover from it. But But at this Battle Royal, I think it's got to be Adrian Neville, though, no?
I suppose, yeah. He showed up before, and I think it's a safe bet. It's the safest bet, basically, just on a character level, because there's not really much you have to know to get Adrian Neville. He just goes in there, he'll be impressive, you're good.
Yeah, I think, like, as much as I think Tyler Breeze is main roster ready, I think Adrian Neville is set in that he doesn't have anything else to do on NXT. He's done everything he can there, and he doesn't have much of a character, which maybe works to his benefit a little bit, because then these guys can't really throw him under the bus on commentary, or, you're not trying to get a weird gimmick over the way you were with Adam Rose or anything. You can just throw him in the ring, let him do his crazy spin kicks and jumping around, and people are going to go nuts for that.
But the commentary loves Lord of the Rings, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
So, all the Hobbit talk, I'm sure.
Yeah. So whoever wins this match, do you think that gets them into the main roster scene pretty much right away, or is this just like a one-off thing, and then maybe we'll see them in a couple months or something like that?
If it's Neville or Breeze, it might as well just put them on the main roster, honestly.
Right. Maybe not like Raw the next night or anything.
Yeah, but then set up the rest of their time on the main roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Okay, so let's talk about then the Battle Royal more generally. I have a list of 19 people who are in the Battle Royal currently. They're confirmed. So just a quick run through of who's announced for the Battle Royal right now. We got Miz Dow, Curtis Axel, Ryback, Fandango, Adam Rose, Zack Ryder, Jack Swagger, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Big Show, Kane, Eric Rowan, Sin Cara, Goldust, Heath Slater, Mark Henry, and the Ascension Boys.
That's really just a sad list.
It's not good. How do you feel about the Battle Royal match in general, and the fact that it might become an annual thing?
I thought it was a cool thing the first time, but now, like I'm saying, it's kind of jobber central. So now it's just kind of depressing, really. And especially after, Cesaro won last year and it was a big deal, and they did nothing with him. So it's like, okay, Connor wins the Battle Royal, then what?
Come on, Connor's not going to win the Battle Royal.
Betting odds, someone thinks that Connor has a chance of winning. No one thinks Victor has a chance of winning, though, apparently, according to betting odds.
Well, he is a lot smaller. So I guess that's fair.
This is how the Ascension breaks up. Connor wins the Battle Royal. It changes him.
Is part of the problem that within this Battle Royal there just aren't a lot of storylines to latch onto?
Or, just not good ones, too. I hate to just throw Adam Rose and Zack Ryder under the bus again, but, their feud that they're having is over Twitter. Just about which one's more pathetic. That's their feud on Twitter. Which one of us is more pathetic?
Right.
Which is kind of very upsetting.
Yeah, a little bit. I was really hoping, one of my friends that I was talking to after we watched Raw, when Zack Ryder actually technically got a win on Monday Night Raw, she was saying that wouldn't it be great if we got a stable that was P2P and the Iced Z? That would be amazing. I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Millions of dollars dance while he's fist pumping.
Exactly.
That'd be kind of adorable.
I think it would be good. I think it would work. But yeah, it seems like in general is the fact that this Battle Royal it's so huge. There's so many people. Does WrestleMania in general right now have a bit of a problem with how many guys they're just trying to squeeze in to a spot on the card? Would it have been better served to get rid of this Battle Royal, don't even have it, and give Miz and Mizdow a singles match and Goldust and Stardust a singles match instead?
Yeah, definitely. This WrestleMania really screams, gotta get everyone on the card. That's the first priority.
I get that WrestleMania check.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only way this Battle Royal works for me, and I hate saying this because Battle Royals are amazing.
They are. There's a reason that there was Battle Royals all the time in 2011 because they're great.
They're inherently great matches. But the only way this one works for me, as far as I'm concerned, is if it comes down to Miz and Mizdow. Like, it has to. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to. That's the problem. That's what I'm already thinking.
Watch them be like both eliminated early on.
Yeah, they'll pull the Daniel Bryan. They'll be thrown out, and
then Connor wins.
So
that's my new dark horse, Connor.
Connor's the okay. Prediction time then.
He goes back to his rat gimmick.
Oh God, that would be great. I'm okay with that.
It was all a long con.
The Ascension thing isn't working, obviously. So prediction time then for the Battle Royal match. Don't say Connor. Don't say Connor. You can totally say Connor if you want, but who do you think wins the Battle Royal?
Assuming he's in the match, Sheamus.
I was going to say, we haven't talked about Sheamus potentially coming back in this match, which seems to be likely, you'd say?
But if he's coming back as heel, I feel like this is the worst time for him to come back because everyone's just going to cheer him for showing up, you know? Yeah. Like, have him come back the next Raw would be the biggest shit heel or whatever he wants to do.
The only way it would work is if he interferes in the Intercontinental match and beats the shit out of Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I think any other way, I don't think you're going to get heat from him from any reason.
At WrestleMania, Sheamus is Daniel Bryan's kryptonite.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
I'm worried that's going to happen. I really am.
Yeah.
But, so...
Well, I mean, Daniel Bryan's a turd, so he just needs to know his place.
That's right. So, Sheamus is the prediction if he's in the match?
Mm-hmm. And, like, I want to say Miz or Mizdow, but really, I'm going to root for Curtis Axel. I'm going to give him something.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He really deserves it.
I think he does too, but I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think, for me, Mizdow's the front runner. I could see them, or at least I'm hoping that they pay the Miz-Mizdow feud off in a meaningful way, and I think this would be... I think they've bungled a few opportunities already to pay this off in a really great way. I think you can do it now in the Battle Royal. You can have it come down to the two of them, and you can have Mizdow get his moment. I think that would be great. I'm also kind of leaning towards Ryback, maybe just because that's kind of what they do, you know? So,
how about Curtis Axel eliminates the big guy, and then we have a Ryback-Axel feud, and then they realize they should be best friends forever.
They should.
They hug it out.
What was it, a couple Raws ago when Axel kind of confronted him and was talking about, like, Ryback's like, yeah, it was, like, the best tag team ever, and Ryback's, like, smirking at the camera. He's like, no, we were terrible. We were so bad.
Everyone loved Ryback, so...
I know.
It was a great team with a great team name.
Oh, man.
Revisionist history at its best.
Okay, so we're both not really interested in the Battle Royal. Like, it'll be all right. I think it's going to be fine.
Let Cesaro win again, and this time do something with him. How about that?
Is he even going to be in it?
Who knows?
Like,
have him steal someone's spot.
Well, that's the thing. So they've got the guys I named off. There's 19 of them, plus one for NXT, plus maybe one for Sheamus. That's 21 guys. I don't know. Like, you could bring in all the guys from the pre-show tag team and let them do their stuff too. So I don't know. Actually,
no. Have Cesaro take Curtis Axel's spot, and then just he won that Battle Royal too.
I've been in the Battle Royal for 8 days.
Is that your Curtis Axel impression?
Yeah, it's close enough.
Close enough?
It's almost as good as a Snoop Dogg impression. So.
Oh, God. That was amazing, too.
That was great. That was a really great segment. It really, really was. Okay, so let's move away from the Battle Royal. Let's kind of work our way up from the bottom of the card, going upwards. I don't know if this is technically the bottom of the card, but Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, which is a match I strangely keep forgetting is actually happening.
Yes, because I'm sure it'll be a perfectly serviceable match.
I think it's going to be a great match.
I'm just not excited. WWE, their storytelling for this whole thing has kind of killed any excitement I have, and I feel weird that this WrestleMania isn't like full of Shield guys messing with each other, basically. Like, I feel like that's what WrestleMania should be this year.
Right. So, but outside of that, what do you mean by the storytelling that WWE has put into this match that just isn't really exciting you?
They're treating it like they're saying basically that, you know, the Authority and Seth Rollins like ruined Randy's life. And it's like, I don't really see that really. And it's Randy Orton, honestly. Like, he's a snake who's a sociopath. He doesn't care. Like, in no world I think that Randy Orton like cares.
Right.
His thing. He's got the voices. He could like be over it like that because he's a crazy person. That's the
Mhm.
character they have. But like I'm sure it will be a great match. But I feel like I'm gonna be so into it, and then I don't think I'm gonna think about it again really.
See,
I think Seth Rollins is really incapable of having like a bad match, and really same with Randy for the most
yeah.
part. But like I don't see myself. I'm not really hyped for it. I'm sure I'll enjoy it and love every minute of it. But once it's over, I think okay, next.
That's interesting because I feel like I'm the opposite in that Rollins and Orton is one of the few matches on the card that has these kind of storytelling implications that can extend beyond WrestleMania. Like when I look at the card, I see a bunch of feuds that end at WrestleMania, and then that's it. There's nothing else left for it. Triple H and Sting aren't going to be feuding after this. Rusev and Cena probably aren't going to be. You never know. But I feel like this is one of the few. Like they haven't done a great job building it up, but I think it's one of the few matches where there are storytelling implications, and I can kind of get into like, oh man, if Randy Orton wins, this like Seth Rollins is still going to be pissed off at him that he beat him at WrestleMania or something sneaky can happen with J&J Security, or anything can kind of go down between the two of those, and depending on what happens with the title in the main event, you don't have to rush Seth Rollins out there on Monday night with a cash-in right away. You can still kind of keep him in this feud with Randy Orton that I think really works for the both of them, and that they're both these really amazing workers, you know?
I think another part of my problem, though, is that just this feud makes Seth Rollins, and I guess by extension the Authority that's not Triple H and Stephanie, look like idiots. And the fact that it feels strange that Randy Orton, of all people, is the one making Seth Rollins look like an idiot. Because he may be the apex predator, coiled, ready, but like when I think mind games and super smart wrestlers, I don't think Randy Orton. So,
right.
And Seth Rollins is the architect. His whole gimmick is basically that he is so smart. He's smarter than everyone. And yeah, sure, like he'll get ahead of himself sometimes, but like he looks like a complete moron, and so does his gang, basically, in the storyline. It just feels there's something off about it, which is why I'm like, I know that the wrestling will be good, but everything around it just feels wrong to me.
I've never really had that feeling with Rollins, like because I think we understand that he's smart, but as a heel, I don't think he can be too smart. He can't be the same architect he was in the Shield because it's hard enough for that guy to get booed in general because everybody fucking loves him because he's an amazing wrestler. So I think you need to have him doing these kind of stupid, kind of chicken shit heel things in order to kind of really get some heat on him. Like, he can't go out there and do all the great things Seth Rollins could potentially do unless he's a face, I don't think. LaToya, are you still there? You keep cutting out on me now.
Quick, so hold on.
There you go.
I'm freezing again. Like, I'm freezing horribly right now.
I know, you're back now. I can hear you, though.
Okay.
Yeah? You still there?
Yeah, like... So that's fun.
LaToya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're kind of...
I'm trying to close tabs.
Never have tabs open. I can hear you, though.
I have, like, 2 tabs open. This in my Gmail.
That's obviously too much. Well, I can still hear you, so while you close those, I'll kind of move on from that match because we need to move into a few more. We got tons and tons to get through. Let's talk about AJ and Paige versus the Bellas. I'm super, super pumped for this match. Is it a problem at all that the Divas Championship isn't being defended?
I missed that completely. I had to, like, refresh.
No worries.
There seems to be 2 me's in here.
That's okay. The more LaToya, the better, is what I've always said. This is great.
Yeah, what was the question? And now I switched to beer instead of water.
No, I think that's the best case scenario when you have too many tabs open and you start freezing. It's like, just give the beer right now. moving to AJ and Paige versus the Bella Twins. I think it's going to be a great match. I think, especially, they're probably going to give them a solid amount of time if the Raws.
I really hope they do.
Yeah. Is it frustrating at all that the Divas Championship isn't being defended at WrestleMania?
Yeah, like I feel like they could have a fatal four-way and just like kind of kill it.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting that that's not what's going on. Like I'm sure it'll be a good match, but like it could be a great match if it was a fatal four-way.
I really thought they were going to do that, especially after what NXT had done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought they were going to see that, realize that they got blown out of the water, and then that's when the whole Give Divas a Chance thing really kind of started and started to really take hold. And they were going to go, you know what? We could do that. We could totally do that.
I could see AJ and all of them actually probably trying to push for that and just being told, no, it's going to be a tag team match.
Right.
I could see that happening, but hey, we're getting some good matches out of this, so...
I think it's going to be really, really good. I think the Bellas just have really worked well over the past, 5 or 6 months. It really frustrated me when they suddenly became friends again, and there was absolutely zero explanation.
Well, blood is thicker than saying "I wish you died in the womb."
Yeah, I guess so.
That was peak.
Like, it's
great.
the end of your. You don't have to be my personal assistant anymore, so I guess we're just friends and everything's forgotten. I don't know. I really didn't like that. But since then, the Bellas have always worked better as heels. Like, they just do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're doing really, really well right now. And I think what works well about these four is that they're all very unpredictable, and all four of them can really swing either way as far as like going face or going heel, and that I think there's a lot of kind of inter-tag team stuff going on as well as to like who can we trust. Like I could see Brie turning on Nikki like this whole time.
Like I was waiting, I was biding my time.
Exactly. Like I could totally
Randy Orton
see
who waited a week. That was how much he was biding his time.
Yeah, exactly. Like same idea in that I think she could turn at any second and be like, no, I didn't forget all those horrible things you said. And
Primo, bitch.
Yeah, and set up another like Bella Twins championship match at some point. But either way, there's tons and tons of possibilities, and I think do you think they're going to give them a solid amount of time?
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't, honestly. Like, there's apparently a 6-hour show.
Yeah.
There's time for so many things.
And I feel like this is one of the few matches that has really been, again, so I think I'll get into this a little bit more now, I guess, in that WrestleMania for me this year is just maybe a little heavy on the attraction match stuff in these matches that don't really have significant storylines built into them and don't have a whole lot of implication past WrestleMania. I think I understand why they do it. They need to sell tickets. WrestleMania tends to be the time when the most casual fan will tune in because they haven't watched wrestling in forever, but they're going to shell out for the pay-per-view or get together with their friends, and it's an event, and they're going to watch it, right? They've heard Sting's back, they heard Undertaker's back, so they're going to tune in. But and those matches will be fine, and some of them will be really great, I'm sure, but this is maybe the only match where everything is way more complex and complicated as far as what can happen afterwards, and that's really, really exciting to me.
Yeah, so it's good. Like, I want to be optimistic, especially when it comes to the Divas. So right now, they're doing well. They're doing as well as they can do in the short amount of time since the Give Divas a Chance thing. So
yeah, I just think it's all really promising to see that when the WWE actually puts a little bit of effort into their creative and decides, hey, we're going to make this matter, that it's kind of comforting when everything else is just kind of maybe a little bit blah, to know that when they really put their minds to it, they can turn out something that's pretty great. And I think that's really, really important. That's what WrestleMania should be. To be like, hey, look what we can do. Look what we can build to.
Yeah.
So, predictions. AJ or Paige or the Bella Twins? Who takes it away on this one?
Let's see. I kind of want the Bellas to win, honestly. I just want, like, Nikki's evil reign to just...
Yeah.
eclipse everything.
I'm
Nikki haters.
100% with you. I think I could see, AJ and Paige just because they're the faces and they might give the audience that, but I really think they're going to have the Bella Twins, barring some sort of weird Brie Bella turn or something. I see the Bella Twins winning either in a really shady kind of half cheating way or just showing that Nikki is kind of really dominant and ends up.
I don't want it to be shady. I kind of just want to be like they're technically like a legit tag team. Like they just have better teamwork, even if there's not like any miscommunications between AJ and Paige. Like just the Brie and Nikki mode is on fire.
You should be a better tag team when you've literally shared a womb together. Like you are suddenly a way better tag team than anybody else.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
That's science.
Sweet. Let's move away from that. We both agree that the Bellas are amazing and they're going to win. Rusev versus John Cena for the United States Championship, for America, for Pride. Like, what else could they possibly be fighting for? Any number of.
Damn it.
They'll kind of go into it. It's not going to be like a technical wrestling showcase by any means. They're not going to blow it out of the water the way Ziggler and Bryan will or anything like that. But Rusev and Cena, I think the match they had before was great. Like, so good. And I think you've really built in this whole thing. When people talk about the way WWE fumbles their NXT talent when they bring them up, they purposely ignore Rusev and how much work WWE has put into making him look amazing. And, like, look how great this is now, right? Like, are you excited for this match?
I guess I am, yeah. But I'm really excited. But my whole thing has been that I need Rusev to win because it would make him basically as a character, and then he could go on, to finally lose something. But like, he needs to beat Cena. Cena needs to let America down and apologize the next night to how he failed us all, and he should quit being an honorary Marine because of it. And maybe he'll cry. I haven't thought this through at all. No, I haven't thought.
No, clearly.
There's a lot of tears, and everyone just boos Cena and throws stuff at him and says, "Get out of here! Go to Canada."
But hey, come on now.
Do you not want Cena either?
No, I will definitely take John Cena here. I don't like all this John Cena hate.
John Cena's right Canadian now. Deal with it, guys.
This is no good.
The Mountie, starring John Cena. But yeah, I feel like as much as it's good for America if Cena wins, like nothing is gonna. I feel like it's not going to be the whole elevation of the United States Championship thing that people have been saying. I feel like if Cena has the United States Championship, he's essentially holding it hostage because who's going to beat Cena for the United States Championship?
Yeah, like he's
besides Rusev. So Rusev kind of has to win, especially when Cena was feuding with Bray Wyatt. Like that threw Bray Wyatt down for a long time. Bray Wyatt's like just now recovering, really.
See, I don't think so. Like, I really don't. I don't agree with that. In that,
God, you Cena lover.
I am a Cena lover because John Cena is an amazing professional wrestler, and I will hear nothing other than like. Don't get me wrong, he's a total dork.
Well, yes.
He's like a.
Where's jorts?
Yeah, and he's a toddler sometimes, and I get that. But I don't think Bray Wyatt suffered from losing to John Cena at all last year. I think Wyatt looked amazing, and I think they had a problem with the way they booked Bray Wyatt after that. Like, I don't think they had a lot for him. So I can see that, but I don't think that's John Cena's fault. And this year, I think Rusev can lose and still be perfectly fine. I think he still comes back. He's still monstrous. He can still be nearly impossible to beat. You know what I mean? I think it all depends how you book them after John Cena. I don't think the John Cena match necessarily buries him or anything, or does him any harm if he loses.
See, if he loses, he can be fine, but the thing is, he shouldn't just be fine. Like, because at the end of the day, Rusev is, he's one of the people who is the future.
Right.
So you have a match like this, you have him win. he can lose to Cena later, like, but if you have him win at WrestleMania against John Cena, that's a message right there. Like, we care about investing in the future. This is a guy who will be a big player. So yeah, have Cena like win the next pay-per-view or whatever if you really need him to have the belt. But just have Rusev win here at WrestleMania. Like, it's the grandest stage of them all.
You know what? Like, I agree with you that if I wanted to book this, I would be booking Rusev to go over because then after that he can lose as many times as you want him to. But he beat John Cena at WrestleMania, and that's amazing. And you'll never be able to take that away from him. I'm just saying that I don't think if it does go the other way, that it's that bad for Rusev.
Okay. But what do you think about what it would do to the United States title? Like, how's that going to be taken off Cena eventually?
I agree that you do run into a bit of an issue there because who's going to compete for the United States title, right? You're assuming all these guys in the Intercontinental, at least most of them, are going to still be competing for that afterwards. I don't know, like, who do you buy as beating Cena after that? Jack Swagger? No.
Oh, Jack Swagger.
Right? So I understand where you're coming from there in that if he has the title, it's kind of like, who the heck? Like, you would have more of a chance going for one of the other belts. Like,
exactly. Why would you ever go after? Yeah. Why would you ever try to go after the United States title?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think where they could go from there. In theory, I like the idea of John Cena holding the United States Championship just because it's so interesting and so different, and I think it has these really interesting implications for WWE going forward, and gives them like obstacles to think about, and it's going to make them work a little bit harder maybe to kind of think about booking John Cena in certain ways, because I want to see mid-card title John Cena and what that's like. I don't really know. So I think that's part of the problem of imagining what John Cena can do afterwards, just because we've been so used to seeing John Cena on top for so long.
Yeah.
So, okay, but prediction-wise, who's actually going to win? I think it's tough. I think this one's closer than people think.
Yeah. I kind of feel like this WrestleMania to kind of make up for how poorly plotted it's been. Like, it kind of has to be a show in which like the future ends up on top. So let's give it to Rusev. Let's have him shame John Cena. Let's have Putin slow clap in the front row.
And hopefully Lana's back, which
yeah.
you would imagine she has to be.
Yeah.
Well, I like that, but I totally disagree. I think John Cena's going to win. Like, it doesn't seem...
And then he's moving to Canada.
And open arms. Open arms.
That'd bring Nikki, so it could be your two favorite wrestlers.
He's got, like, all those red shirts already. He's set. Like, he's color-coded.
Or maybe he's secretly a damn commie, and he's working for Vladimir Putin himself.
That would be great. That would be great.
Super Russian soldier John Cena.
Oh, man. But yeah, so I don't think... As much as I think it could be kind of close, I think my prediction, if I had to put my money on someone, it would be on John Cena to win this match.
Technically, it should always just be on John Cena.
It should be, yeah. Okay, so Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. My opinion on the lead up to this is that for what it's been, and as far as Bray Wyatt has to carry the whole thing on his own, I think it's been really, really good. I think this is the best Bray Wyatt's been in quite some time.
Yes.
I thought his promo on Monday with, like, eye control, lightning, and thunder.
That was the best promo of the series. I was so happy. I was so into it.
Amazing. Between that one and the one with, like, the rocking chair and everything, I think he's doing amazing work. Do you think they made the right choice by keeping Undertaker off TV this entire time?
Whenever Undertaker decides he's going to cut promos for his WrestleMania thing, nothing really good ever happens. All I can think now, at this point, whenever like he shows up for that, is when he revealed his bald head on that Raw. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. I can't take this seriously.
Yeah.
So we don't really need Undertaker around. Although it's even maybe slightly more ridiculous that he started using Johnny Cash lyrics. Like, this isn't. I don't know if this is the right direction either. And now you guys are like really leaning into it. Like, stop doing that.
But so for me, I'm super pumped for this match. Like, to me, this is the match I might be most looking forward to, just because I think Undertaker's still going to be able to go. He was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid, so I'm always excited to see him. I think Bray Wyatt is amazing, and the dude can put on one hell of a match. He doesn't just have to do the mic thing. He's an amazing wrestler. The guy can go. But more than anything else, I think you have a lot of really interesting possibilities with the fact that the streak was broken last year. And now it leaves... I think the possibilities are totally open as to what can happen.
Yeah, because it's weird because, again, it's the whole future thing. I feel like Bray Wyatt should win, but then Undertaker kind of just looks like a weenie if he's losing 2 years in a row after never losing. Unless that's the storyline they want to go with, where it's like, has he completely, lost his ability to be this dominating factor? That's a very interesting thing they could do.
I think so. And, so I'll throw in my prediction right now then because it ties in with that. I think Bray Wyatt wins, and then you have this story of Taker comes back next WrestleMania and he gets his win back. The streak was broken. He lost 2 in a row, but you have a whole year to be like, will Undertaker ever be seen again? What will happen? Who does he fight at WrestleMania? And then he comes back and he gets his one last win before he goes away.
I think that should be it.
Do you think that if Bray Wyatt loses, it hurts him?
Kinda. Especially with the whole thing of where he loses and he has to be there the next night. Undertaker's not going to be there the next night. Undertaker will have his win and he'll probably be done, honestly.
Yeah. I think Bray Wyatt winning is just the more compelling storyline because then you get to book Bray Wyatt as the guy who,
he's the new face of fear, yeah.
Yeah, and he has, he's like, through osmosis, he now has all the Undertaker's powers, He does come out in the darkness and then gets the lights to turn on. That's amazing. He already does that.
He's controlling the weather.
Yeah, so I think
he had ghost children before.
Which was so freaky. But, this is what he can do now. So I think Bray Wyatt needs to go over on that. And if he doesn't, I don't think it really hurts him that much, to be honest. I think Bray Wyatt is a lot like a guy like Dean Ambrose to me and Seth Rollins, and that you can lose, but you're so talented and you're so in with the crowd already that if you lose, it's not a huge deal, even if it is to, a guy who's basically retiring. I think more than anything else, though, it kind of hurts The Undertaker if he wins, because I think it's way more interesting to give him one more run next year.
Yeah.
Especially because it was thrown together this year,
Mm-hmm. Either way, win or lose, basically, for Bray Wyatt. I feel like the post-WrestleMania should probably have him, have the Wyatt family get back together. You could have Eric Rowan, who's kind of lost, obviously. He's really just, he's fallen, into the background, essentially. Mm-hmm. And, Luke Harper, who is still insane and will just go, flocking back. Just have, the return of his family as he can control the weather and everything.
I could see part of that, potentially at WrestleMania. Yeah. Because I don't think, even though Luke Harper's in the Intercontinental match, I think there are options that you have with putting the Wyatt family back together. And right now, they've kept Bo Dallas away for a really long time. And if you really wanted to, rejig his whole thing and make him, and acknowledge that, he's his brother, and now he's going to be part of the Wyatt family, that would be amazing too. So, yeah. Okay, so... we both agree, Bray Wyatt. That's the official prediction?
Yeah.
All right, that's the official prediction.
Although if he loses, we're not as worried as I am about Rusev losing.
No, I would agree with you. I would totally agree. All right, let's talk about the ladder match then, which... for Shizzle. I think we both agree is probably going to be completely off the wall. It's going to be nuts. I am legit... One, I'm really scared for Daniel Bryan. I'm don't be in this ladder match. I'm always scared of Daniel Bryan. Just in normal matches, I'm no, don't. It's too close to your neck. Stop that. Not good. Not good. And anytime you have Dolph Ziggler in a ladder match, when he can just flop on things and bounce around, it's going to be so good. The lead up to all of this, though, how have you been feeling about all that? You can read all my Raw reviews for that. That is true. There's a link down below. It's true. You can go find it.
Oh boy. But yeah, the match will be great. I've never been worried about the quality of what the match will be.
Does the lead up to this match, no matter who wins the title, does it kind of do the Intercontinental title a little bit of a disservice the way it's kind of been this weird Looney Tunes kind of thing?
Like, the lead up to the match, it really did a disservice to the Intercontinental title, but depending on who wins, that can help a lot, just because, like, R-Truth should not win the belt. Dean, I love, but I don't think he should win the belt either. I feel like the winner should either be Ziggler, who was honestly having a great run, Daniel Bryan, who hopefully his turdness won't prevent that. Wade Barrett should retain and just be like, stay the fuck away from my belt, everyone. And part of me wants to say Stardust, because like Cody was a phenomenal Intercontinental champion, but I don't know how it would translate to Stardust, the Intercontinental champion. But like again, Cody can turn turds to gold. So
right, I think the most Stardust is the most interesting for me, and just because this whole storyline has been a bunch of nothing, a bunch of guys just like, hey, I kind of want the title because I was kind of in the ring with the same guy at one time. But Stardust has this built-in, like, ooh, it's the title, I really want it, like, just because it's shiny and it's cosmic, and, you know, like, that's his whole thing. That's why him and Goldust wanted the tag team titles, right? That was the whole Cosmic Key thing. So I don't think Stardust is going to get that push, if I'm being honest. I think they continue to kind of push him after that. I think they've been doing well with him as a singles wrestler, and they're finding things for him to do. I think you have to go with Daniel Bryan, though, if only to, in some way, appease the people in the audience that are totally pissed off that he's not in the main event.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I'm more pissed off it's not Dolph Ziggler in the main event, honestly.
Yeah,
I wanted Ziggler to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. During the Royal Rumble, I was like, I would totally be okay with Bray Wyatt winning. When he was eliminating everyone too, I was like, this is really great. This is cool.
That's like the biggest problem for me with Brock's limited dates is that I have so many matches I would love to see him have that he'll never have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But despite all of the build-up, I'm excited for the match, and luckily we won't have to hear R-Truth on commentary during the match because he'll be in it.
Yeah, that's a very, very good thing. I think he'll fit in well in the match. You know, I think. Like he's not the greatest wrestler or anything like that, and he doesn't have much of a character really. But it's a ladder match. You're gonna fit in. You know what I mean? You'll find your spot. You'll get a couple bumps here and there, and it's gonna look good.
Yeah, he's done ladder matches before, so.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned even Luke Harper yet, who was in a ladder match and did great stuff with Dolph Ziggler and those guys, and you know so. It's going to be really, really good. Who takes it away for you? Who snatches that title?
If we're not having Barrett retain, honestly, I think Dolph Ziggler should win.
I like it.
Finally just get the back of the belt he never should have lost, pretty much. Because he never got his rematch.
I think the only way I would do it differently is I think Daniel Bryan wins the title, and then that starts the feud with Ziggler, where he's like, hey, by the way, I never lost that title. And you know what it feels like to just have something taken away from you and not, like, get your chance to get
I do like that, yeah. That's good.
You know what I mean? And then we get the great Bryan Ziggler feud that we've all been wanting to see.
Which we could also have Wade, like, as a tertiary character in that, too, just because he would be like, I want my rematch, too. Basically.
Yeah.
Those three of them could put on some great matches, honestly.
I think they could too. As far as I'm concerned, though, they got to figure out something with Barrett, though. Like, he's kind of dead in the water right now. They've done him no favors in the past couple months.
It's baffling that they can you can look at Wade Barrett and you could be like, I don't see how this guy should be winning everything. Apparently, like he's gigantic. He's a great wrestler. He's a great talker. Why are you constantly making him look like a goofball?
Yeah, I don't know. And ever since he come back from injury, like, he spent some time at the gym. Dude's looking good.
That six-pack.
Right?
Yeah. I will admit I have a slight crush on Wade Barrett. He's ruggedly handsome.
I understand. That whole match is just, like, handsome dudes, right? Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, like, even like Luke Harper, when he's, like, cleaned up, he's a handsome-looking guy. He's got some Jason Lee look in this, so
There you go.
yeah.
So we both don't think Dean Ambrose is going to win, though. I think he has a chance, but he doesn't need it, right?
He really does not.
No. Okay, so that's
Have
our
him, if Cena wins the U.S. belt, have him go after Cena. Have that happen.
I don't see why not. Like,
Yeah.
he totally could.
He's a lunatic fringe. He'll be like, oh, I couldn't get this belt, I'll go after the other one.
Yeah, I'll just do anything I can. I think they need to, if there's a guy that needs to be rejigged a little bit after WrestleMania, I think it's Dean Ambrose. Like, he was just white hot for a while there when Reigns got injured, and then they couldn't figure out what to do with him. They totally took what we thought we wanted from Dean Ambrose, which is that, like, he does crazy things, but they made it too cartoonish.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got to go back to being the guy that just does crazy things because he doesn't know any better, right?
Yeah, because
So-
he's like a hothead, basically.
Yeah,
Don't just
exactly.
Because he's like a goofy cartoon. Like, have it be because he's legitimately insane.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so 2 more matches to go then. So let's move to, I know a little bit of your thoughts about this, but I don't think everyone else does, so we can chat about it. Sting versus Triple H. I think you've been on the record that you are not a big Sting fan.
Yeah, it's just I've talked about this before. I've mentioned it like briefly in my reviews, but like I was raised on WWF, and the only time I ever watched WCW was like Thunder sometimes when like because I was a latchkey kid, so my parents were always working. But like the rare times my dad was home, like we'd like be making dinner and like Thunder would be on, and I just like watch it while he was cooking food. But
You're
like,
just watching Disco Inferno. That's
exactly. That's like my biggest memories from WCW are literally Disco Inferno and NWO Wolfpack. That is
Which, of course, and the Wolfpack era, too, like the red and black.
Yeah, exactly. So those are my biggest WCW memories. So I've like most of my education has come, after the fact with all of WWE's like revisionist history and all that fun stuff. So my like real Sting like knowledge either comes from the documentaries or it comes from TNA. And TNA Sting was like this old guy who I felt like was constantly shoehorned in matches, and he was wrestling them in a T-shirt. And he also had that weird Joker like character, and which was insane. And so like when I see Sting, I don't really have good memories. Like I can look back and realize, yeah, he was cool back in the day, but I don't have that nostalgia that everyone else does. And I saw him like technically recently on TNA wrestling in this T-shirt, and I was rooting on Ethan Carter III when he beat him. So
this is my big thing in that, like, I love Sting, but if he wrestles in a T-shirt, I'm gonna lose it. Like, you can't. You just can't do that. It's absolutely. Kevin Owens can do it, and that's about it. Like, because that dude wrestles in basketball shorts, like,
it's not even like Sting is like so disgustingly out of shape, like he needs to hide something.
No,
he's
it's
fine.
a weird
He might
thing.
have a little bit old man gut, but he's fine.
I don't think they're gonna put him in it at WrestleMania. I have faith that they understand that that's not a good idea. Otherwise, I'm super excited for this. I think it's going to be really, really good. I think Sting has shown even in a little bit, like I have faith that he can move. His character work in TNA wasn't great, but I thought the guy could still wrestle.
I never, like, for the most part, hated it. His matches,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of character problems.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's a lot of that is going to be solved here. I'm okay with the revisionist history that they've done, just because it works for the storyline, and that's fine for me because you're not going to extend it past WrestleMania, so you don't really need to, you don't have to be that faithful to what the story actually was. I think you get Sting in there for a match against Triple H, who can definitely go. He had maybe the best match of his career last year, so we know Triple H can tell the story in the ring still, and that's not going to be a problem.
I will say Triple H, he's never been like my favorite, but I've always appreciated his like in-ring work and his ability to tell a story.
Yeah, like he can totally. I don't think as the guy who legit runs the company to a certain extent, who is way, way, way up there. I don't think he would step in there with Sting if he didn't think they could put on a great show. But that wouldn't be, for lack of a better word, best for business.
Well, maybe there'll be another chapter of Wrestling Isn't Wrestling to describe this whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I don't know. I have. I think it's obviously an attraction match in that you're trying to bring in the people that haven't really watched since the Attitude Era. You're trying to sell a couple more seats in the arena and get couple more people to subscribe to the network.
Yeah.
Not only to be like to see Triple H and Sting, but to be like, oh my God, there's all these shows from my childhood just on this network. This is amazing.
Some of these shows from my childhood.
Yes, exactly. But I think it's going to surprise people. I don't think they need to tell much of like a story beyond what I loved Sting's promo on Monday. In that he came out and he was like, this isn't about WCW, that's stupid. That company folded like years ago. I just think Triple H is entitled and Stephanie McMahon is entitled, and I don't like entitled people. Like, I think that's great motivation for a match.
Yeah.
And I think that's all you really need. So
you need motivation for a match.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So we segue to the main event.
Your prediction first, though. Your prediction. Is there any way Triple H loses this match? I mean, wins this match?
Like, wow, you're like sipping that Kool-Aid.
Is there any way Triple H wins this?
You never know with Triple H, but I'm going to say Sting wins.
Yeah, Sting has to win. I think there's, like, I don't know how else you would do it. It would be pretty ridiculous. So.
Although I still think it's ridiculous that we're supposed to believe a bat's scarier than a sledgehammer. Come on, people.
I don't know. As the guy who grew up on Sting with that bat, it's pretty freaky. See, I'm so biased when it comes to the Sting stuff. I can't help it.
Stephanie ascending from like the depths of hell with that sledgehammer was amazing.
I saw, I don't know where someone had posted it, but someone had posted that next to the one where Vince comes up from under the ring with the blood all over his face. It's like, oh my God, this is perfect. You know, she's just a carbon copy of him, and it's amazing. Yeah, they totally get it. Okay, so yeah, let's transition into the one with maybe the least amount of storytelling, and is also the main event of WrestleMania and the thing we're supposed to care about the most. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. We've already established that we did not like the tug of war, that was terrible.
Johnny Curtis would have won it.
You're ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
Power of the Punch Challenge.
But I've said this on Twitter before and kind of talked to people about it. I think they're going to put on one heck of a match because I think they understand, the WWE understands that they need Roman Reigns to look amazing, and they're going to do as much as they can to make that happen. We'd be remiss not to mention, obviously, that now we know Brock Lesnar has decided he's not going back to UFC and that he's signed a multi-year contract to stay in the WWE. We don't know if that means part-time, how often he's going to be there. We assume it's going to be a part-time thing.
Yeah, I think I read something. I don't know if it was like confirmed though that it's going to be. It might even be less dates somehow.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So that changes everything, right? Knowing that.
Slightly, yeah. I guess part of me does think that, especially since people are going to cheer Brock Lesnar anyway, you should like have Paul Heyman turn on him, just kind of turn Roman Reigns heel. I feel like that'd be very interesting, like to have like a face Brock Lesnar. I mean, when I hear like things like WWE wants to turn Brock face or whatever they say on the sheets, it's like, in theory, is he really a heel? He's an ass kicker, and he kidnaps children, but like people will cheer him for ass kicking and kidnapping children.
Yeah. I don't think he's not necessarily. I don't think he's a full-on heel the way like someone like Seth Rollins is.
Yeah, he'll take on all comers. It doesn't matter if you're a heel or face. Like he just wants to win and kick ass.
Yeah, and so what I see happening is if they did, because I've heard some people talk about this is when you can execute the double turn. I don't think that works. I think if anything, Reigns goes heel. Like that's the most obvious thing because that's where the storyline organically has been going. And if the WWE can for a second resist the impulse to not try to change things that organically are happening.
What organically happening? No, we don't want that.
I think they could have something really, really interesting with that. But knowing that Brock Lesnar is sticking around, I think suddenly makes this main event way more interesting. And I'm someone who thought who's been excited for this match anyways, because it's two big dudes beating the crap out of each other.
Roman Reigns and John Cena are your two favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, damn right.
Canada's own John Cena and Roman Reigns.
I think these guys can go. That's all I'm saying. Like these guys can go and they can put on a match.
Like I've never thought Brock Lesnar couldn't go. Like I think he's a terrific wrestler. Honestly, the only thing I've had problems with since Brock returned is because I kind of just miss him as a more technical wrestler. Honestly, like he was like in the heyday back on SmackDown. But like he's Brock Lesnar, so he can just kill everyone in the ring without doing much. But the whole, like, really the problem that people have been having with the worry is that, like, these are two guys who, even if they can go, like, they're not usually, like, the ring general, they're not usually the ones controlling the flow of the match. So you have two people who aren't used, like, they're used to, like, taking, basically, the orders from the other person in the match. And that's where a lot of the worries come from, I think.
Right. I think that's fair, but I do feel like Brock has enough experience, and Reigns has been at least improving enough that you can have Brock be a little more of the ring general and kind of lead the match around. And I think...
Yeah, I think if need be, Brock can do it, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that Reigns has been showing over the past couple of weeks that he's got this kind of arsenal of moves and different kind of speeds and psychologies and stuff that maybe he wasn't really showing before. Like, I just don't think they've given him enough of an opportunity to succeed. Like, I don't think anyone's doing Roman Reigns.
I don't know if I really agree that recently he's been able to show he has like more speed, just because they haven't really let him wrestle or talk recently. Mm-hmm. And like when they do, it's kind of like background to a different storyline, like the handicap match against Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. It's like, yeah, I was telling you, like, it lacked the urgency of, a handicap match. He's just going through the motions because he knew what was going to happen. Then he immediately just walks away from the ring once he wins because, next segment's happening. And it just, I worry. I guess, obviously, behind the scenes, he has to be training like crazy, but it just feels weird that, like, he's having less and less time to do anything. It's like, you're going to be the main event at WrestleMania. You are literally like one of the least important people on the show right now, which is insane.
I just feel like, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I feel like they know.
Stop it.
I know. I feel like they know what they have to do. I feel like I don't think they're ignorant to the way
everything.
People have responded to Reigns, to his flaws or whatever you want to call them. I don't think they are ignoring any of that and being like, you know what, like, let's just hope for the best. I think they understand what's going on, and they are going to do everything they can to, like, put on one heck of a show.
See, we say they, but in theory, I feel like they know what's going on. Vince is the one I'm actually worried about.
Right.
Like, everyone else might be, like, wise to what's going on. I'm not sure if Vince is.
Yeah. I don't know. So...
We're going to cheer up, damn it.
So... Okay, so prediction-wise, and we can talk a little bit more after, but prediction-wise, who wins this match now?
Yes,
I think before it was Reigns, and now it's really in question.
You know what? Just give it to Reigns. Like, I'm not going to fight it.
After all that.
Yeah. Just give it to him.
You've made me defend Reigns endlessly.
Yep.
Because you're like, he's the worst, he's terrible, and now you're like, you know what, give it to him.
It's my face turn.
Oh, man. No, that might be a heel turn, actually. It might be.
We're assuming I wasn't already heel?
Yeah, that's true. No, you're definitely the heel on this one.
I turned face for like a millisecond just to turn back heel, actually.
You're the heel on this podcast. I know. I know you are. You don't like John Cena. That's how we know.
I mean, I'm clearly a face because I'm American.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I can be the hugest asshole in the world.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can do absolutely anything. Dump water on me, and it'll all be fine. I think, here's what's really interesting to me, is that now that you know Lesnar is going to be around, at least on a part-time schedule, I think you have two really interesting possibilities in that you do have the potential to let Lesnar hold on to the belt, and he can continue to be the dominant force, and you can give Reigns a little more time. You could still want Reigns to be your top guy, and you can still want him to win the championship, but you can give him till SummerSlam to do it. You know, you can give him some time there. My only worry with that is that if you keep the title on Lesnar, is it harmful to not have it around the way it hasn't been around for the past, 7 or 8 months? And in that way, is it maybe better to just give it to Reigns?
Yeah, the way I see it is harmful, especially for Seth Rollins, who he's going to have to cash in,
Yeah.
and you can't do that if your champion's not around.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like I've said it before, like I was a person who was a fan of the brand split, the 2 different titles, because like that way, you'd always have kind of like these people who are right now in the mid card who are like going for the Intercontinental title. Like I feel like part of the reasons they're floundering is because like you don't have the World Heavyweight title, which would be like their title at least on the major scale. So I feel like everyone, like there's kind of a bottleneck situation that I think was created as soon as the WWE World Heavyweight title was created, because like your B+ players essentially, they're definitely going to be moved even further down the line. Because before, like, they weren't going to get the WWE title, but they had a chance at the World Heavyweight title.
But then isn't that what they're trying to do now, then, with the Intercontinental, at least a little bit, is that they're trying to maybe establish that as the secondary title? And here's the thing that guys like Ambrose and Ziggler and all these people can vie for, and if they're not in that picture, maybe they can go up there and shoot for the World Heavyweight title.
But the problem with that is a combination of them beginning that with, humor, and then also just, like, they get the belt, then what? Because people have been already conditioned to be, like, these are the mid-card titles, and, like, I feel like that's an even harder one to kind of change people's perception on than, the Divas division. Because Divas division, in theory, you can just, like, snap your finger, because they have such talented divas. Like, that's all you need to show is how talented the divas are. The end, in a way. Like, you have to completely restructure the way people look at the belts, the mid-card belts, if the tag team belts, like, the tag team division is not going to be made overnight either. Like, those are ones that take a long time to do.
Okay, well, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I was a big fan of the split as well and having those 2 titles. I don't know.
Especially because poor SmackDown really has, like, suffered the most because of it.
And I was watching some of the old stuff, too, and just kind of reminding myself of what that was like, and it was a lot of fun. I think maybe to an extent you can only keep it going for so long, but either way, okay, so official prediction. Do you actually think Reigns is going to win on Sunday?
Let's get your Reigns.
You're pushing my buttons now, LaToya.
What, you don't want me to cheer for Reigns?
No, of course I do.
Now you look like a jerk.
And he will.
Oh.
Put me in a tough spot. I'm really, really torn on this. Like, I really can't figure it out, which I think is really exciting. My gut instinct right now is that they keep it on Lesnar. I think you had that announcement that he's going to be around, and I think that's a sign that, okay, let's give it to him. The only way I see it being different is if Roman has the actual heel turn, and maybe Paul Heyman aligns himself with him, and then it becomes that kind of thing. All right, so
he wins, and Seth immediately cashes in.
I don't think Seth cashes in at WrestleMania. As far as I'm concerned, I think I could see it the next night, maybe on Raw. I think you have to leave the main event alone between whether it is Lesnar or Reigns, whoever ends up with the strap at the end. I think you got to leave it alone, though.
Even if Reigns wins and the boos are deafening at WrestleMania?
I think so. I think you just got to let that be, and then you can...
The most controversial win in WrestleMania history. Those are the exact words they would use.
You could have... Like, maybe... I've been going back and forth on whether The Rock's going to be there again or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could see The Rock having something to do with it. Like, maybe Rollins comes out to try to cash in, and The Rock is, like, his music kicks in, and he just rock bottoms him or something. I don't know.
Well, The Rock turns heel and attacks his cousin after all this.
That's true.
Roman, WrestleMania 32.
But that wouldn't be Rock as a heel. That would be Rock as a face, because everyone would love that. Right? Like, Roman would have to get really dark after that.
The Crow, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, just up in the rafters, just being nice. And he could do that. He basically comes down from there anyways. So
could do that.
yeah, I think he could. All right, do we have anything else we need to cover? That's the whole card right there. So
That
any
is the
other
whole
last
card.
minute thoughts?
Let Roman win. Let Roman win.
Let Roman win is definitely a way that we can end the podcast. Yeah, so that is the first episode of the Wrestling Review. We covered a bit of Raw and the WrestleMania 31 card. LaToya, tell us, what do you have coming up? You're covering WrestleMania for the AV Club. You're writing the review?
Yes, I'm going to review WrestleMania, and then the next night I have to review Raw, so, just pray for my sanity, I guess.
Okay, everybody pray for LaToya's sanity, and then
now that I know WrestleMania is 6 hours.
Yeah, and then hopefully by next Thursday, when we do this again, you'll be a little bit refreshed. You can, sleep Tuesday and Wednesday, and it'll all be okay.
I don't sleep.
No, who does?
That's my secret.
Who does that nowadays? All right, everyone, that's the Wrestling Review. I'm Kyle Fowle. That's LaToya Ferguson on the other line. Check out her WrestleMania review sometime Monday, I assume.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to do it that night.
So check it out on Monday, watch Raw, and then don't forget, if you liked what we saw, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next week. Later, everyone.
Bye, everybody.